New at 6 and only on KIRO 7. Does this Corvette look like a carpool to you? The judge behind the wheel claims he's been carpooling for a decade while collecting thousands of dollars in discounts.
Municipal court that judge, Fred Bonner, didn't know KIRO 7 cameras were watching his so-called carpool.
When KIRO 7's Amy Clancy started investigating, she found out he's been driving to work alone. Amy.
We received a tip from a highly placed source who said although Judge Bonner pays a special reduced parking rate because of his carpool, Bonner really doesn't drive anyone else to work. So to find out for ourselves, we started following him. Over nearly 3 months, KIRO 7 watched and recorded video and pictures as Seattle Municipal Court Judge Fred Bonner left his home in South Seattle and drove to work downtown. On each occasion, we followed him without losing sight of his vehicle. All the way to work, not one carpool. According to paperwork Judge Bonner filed with the city 10 years ago, he drives a 3-person carpool. In order to receive a special reduced parking rate, drivers must carpool at least 4 out of 5 workdays every week. However, day after day, on multiple days of the week, KIRO 7 followed as Bonner took 3 different routes to work, never once picking up a passenger. So we asked him about it. When was the last time you drove a carpool then?
Probably 2 weeks ago.
We've been watching you for 3 months. On multiple days of the week,
Well,
and never once saw you pick up anybody.
what do you mean never saw me pick up anybody?
We never saw you from your home to your office pick up anybody for a carpool.
It may have been a little longer.
Bonner's savings over the past decade because of his carpool status have been significant. In 2004, his reduced parking rate saved him more than $2,600. Bonner, a 25-year Muni Court veteran, is up for re-election this fall. And during a recent campaign interview, claimed accountability for elected officials is essential.
If we do not have that accountability, we will develop this so-called bunker mentality and try to do things that perhaps we shouldn't be doing.
But Bonner apparently hasn't been held accountable when it comes to his daily commute. Our source claims the judge hasn't driven a carpool for years.
It's not true.
Can you then provide me with the names and the phone numbers of the people who you have driven over the years?
I cannot tell you that because, and I will not tell you that, because I consider that as privilege.
But it's not privilege for anybody else. Okay. In fact, Bonner apparently didn't even supply the names of his carpool members when he began receiving the special reduced parking rate back in 2004, something required for approval. What's more, the Seattle Department of Transportation confirms even though it is the only agency that can approve carpool status, SDOT has absolutely no record of Bonner ever applying. Do you have any idea how this happened, how he was given this status if you don't have the paperwork?
I don't. I wish I did.
Does it concern you that Judge Bonner might not be the only one who's paying a carpool rate for parking who may not be driving a carpool?
I think, we as a city probably want to go back and check and recheck.
So while SDOT promises to investigate and work to prevent it from happening again, when confronted by KIRO 7, the judge admitted he's been paying the reduced rate from 2004 until just last week. According to our calculations over the past 10 years, if you've never driven anybody, you've saved yourself over $12,000 at taxpayer expense.
Well, I have driven individuals, and you have not been following me for the last 10 years, so you can't say that.
That is true, but I would like the names of those people you've driven so I can verify with them.
I'm not going to provide those for you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Since SDOT admits there could be other carpool drivers who may not be eligible, I just filed a public records request to find out. We'll let you know if anyone is apparently taking advantage of the system at taxpayer expense. And contact us on our Facebook page if you have suspicions about anybody. We may want to follow them to work too.
So Amy, if Judge Bonner is found to have violated the carpool and parking regulations, what could happen to him?
He could face a $5,000 fine or up to a year in jail.
Okay. All right, Amy, keep us posted. Thank you.
A former Seattle judge has admitted to misusing a city parking discount for a decade. Last year, KIRO 7 spent several months watching then Seattle Judge Fred Bonner drive to work alone, even though he was using a discounted city carpool parking pass. The Commission on Judicial Conduct censured Bonner and ordered him not to hold any judicial office without approval. Yesterday, the commission announced that Bonner admitted to misusing that pass. He's agreed to pay the city back over the next year.